Good morning. I'm going to make a quick video this morning. It's going to kind of be spliced together, I think, because I'm going to have to move the camera once or twice. But I think I finally come up with a way to cut an internal keyway. And so I've got the camera over here. I hope you can see the setup. That's why I moved it over here. So all I've done basically is used 2 angle blocks and a couple of strap clamps to clamp the workpiece against the 2 angle blocks. I'm kind of using some 1, 2, 3 blocks to set things up. They're not actually doing anything, but they help me get things set up in the right place, so I can, cut the groove, cut the keyway. So anyway, that's why I've got the camera here. I'm going to move it. I'm going to point out a couple things first. So what I've done to accomplish this, and you'll see it better later in the video, what I've done is I've gotten rid of the clapper and the clapper box. So let me get over there, turn this around so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, let's see if I can see here. So I've got rid of the clapper and the clapper box, and also the tool holder that I had. It just creates too much flex. You think it's solid as a rock, but it's not actually. So I've experimented with this setup I've got now. I've experimented with aluminum and steel. It works just fine. What I've done is I've built a solid block. I've got gloves on this morning because I'm trying to cover up my one of my hands. I slashed the heck out of it with a deburring tool the other day. So I made a solid block here, and let me, if I can zoom out a little bit. I made a solid block with a shank that goes in it and a tool bit out here, and it's all mounted tight against the vertical slide here, the front unit. So it's pretty solid. I'm going to cut a keyway in about a 1/2 inch bore. So this part of the setup is only 3/8 of an inch. So if the bore was larger, I could make another shank here, and which would be more rigid. But anyway, this works for this. I'm able to get into a 1/2 inch bore. I could probably actually get into a little smaller bore, but basically I've set this up for a 1/2 inch. So that said, let's see, that's about all I've done here. I've got 2 angle blocks bolted down here, a couple of spacers. I use these 1, 2, 3 blocks for spacers. I've got a V block under the workpiece here, and that just helps in the setup. So I use the V block and the adjoining V block as a spacer to get these straps set up correctly. And then all I've used is a couple of small C clamps here to tighten this against the angle blocks. And I just eyeballed it. I've got a little started place in there now. I don't have much travel, but all I need is about a 1/16 of an inch. So that's all the deeper I'm going to go in. And if I needed more travel, I could put a spacer under the V block and move this up, or use some larger angle blocks. But right now this works for what I'm doing, and this is basically, I'm still in the testing mode here. But anyway, I'll break this down after I make the video. I don't think this whole thing is going to take too long. It should go fairly quickly. Hopefully I can stand off to the side and do this without getting in the way too much. All right, I'm going to stop the video now, and then I'm going to move the camera angle around to the front, because I think that's going to be better, so you can see what's going on. So let me do that. Okay, it's been a few seconds. I just moved the camera around, and what I can see, probably I'm going to be in the way here a little bit, but I'm trying to show you the setup from this angle, and also to then I'm going to zoom in on the cut. So that's what I intend to do right now. I'm going to zoom in on the cut, and hopefully I can get the cut in. You can see, let me adjust the angle just a little bit here. You can see the cut where I've started it, and you can see the front of the shank and the tool bit. Maybe what I should do is lower the camera down a little bit. I don't know if that'll make a difference or not. You might be able to see the tool bit better, I don't know. Okay, let's just leave it right there right now. Let's see where I'm at here. Okay. Oh, there we go. Let me see if I can reach over here and get some little bit of cutting fluid put on there. And let's see where I'm at here. Got to set the dial so I know. I can't see what I'm doing, so you're the only ones. Walter, I'm kind of making this for you too. I want you to know that my new block and everything seems pretty solid. So hopefully you can see the cut. The reason I'm using aluminum is I can move down through the material faster. Make the video a little shorter. Not that fast though. Well, hopefully it's working. I'll put a little more cutting fluid on there just to be doing something here. As I mentioned in the last video, this dial, one rotation on the dial is 50 thousandths. So there I'm down about 50 thousandths. So let's go another, I don't know, 10 thousandths. There's 5. There's 10 thousandths. Okay. Then I've, let's see here. Let me get a, this is what I used in the last video, this piece of 1/8 inch tool steel. So that's what I've kind of set the tool bit up for that. So it fits right in there. It's not a snug fit, but it fits right. I'm not trying to precision grind these tool bits. I'm just trying to get them ground so I can test them right now. So that's what I've done. So okay, that's said. Let me remove that, and let's zoom back out again. So we've made the cut. We're down 60 thousandths, which is about the half the depth of the key. Let me move the viewer around here so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, hopefully that works. Let me raise this up just a little bit. Get myself in there. Okay, so that's the cuts made. Just took a few seconds. Let me get this. See if I can find some tools here. Well, let me remove these strap clamps first. Okay, so there's the cut. I can't see if this I can't see if this was working or not here. So there's the cut. Looks pretty good to me. Nice keyway in there. It only took a few seconds. So pretty simple. Of course, it's a piece of aluminum, but I've actually only went down about the same amount as I would go down on a piece of steel. So it really didn't make much difference. I just happened to have this little piece of material laying around here in the scrap bin, so I thought it was a perfect choice to do a demonstration. So in the setup, I just put this V block under it. That kind of allowed me to set it in there more easily. It just helped the situation. And I use these 1, 2, 3 blocks as spacers to set up the angle blocks. So that's that. And all I've got here is a couple angle blocks. So this is pretty simple setup. It only took about, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes to set up. So that was fine. I tried to do this with a couple of different vise that I had, and I wasn't successful. I needed more versatility than the vise would give me. So I have a whole bunch of different vise laying around the shop, but different sizes, but I couldn't seem to make it fly. So. And the vise doesn't hold the work very well, actually. You only can grip the bottom edge of it. So if it was a pulley or something where you could grip the entire pulley, maybe. But this seemed to work pretty good. So I'll just get rid of all this, and we're down to the new block. Okay. So I've got to say that, let's see if I can find the right Allen wrench. Or here, maybe the best thing to do, let's see if I can find the right tools here. So all I did, this is what holds the clapper in place. So I just used the same bolt to do that. I need to buy the right, I don't have the right cap screw for this, so I just had a screw laying around the shop that worked temporarily. Well, there's that. So here's the new block. Okay, I don't know if you could see that in the camera. Okay. There's the new block. And let's get a rag here and wipe it off a little bit. I got a little oil on it. And so there's, I don't know, there's the cutter. All this is, let me take this apart. You'll see there's a couple of, I don't know if you can see it in the camera. There's a couple set screws on the side, and they're at a 5-degree angle. And I have to give credit where credit's due, because I built this block not to any specific dimensions, because it was just a scrap of steel I had laying around the shop. But there was a video. Stefan had a video. Stefan Gottswinter had a video where he actually did some slotting on his shaper, and he used this type of arrangement, and so that led me to build this the way I did. So I have to give credit where credit's due. If you want to get more information and probably a better explanation, you can watch Stefan's YouTube video. So let me see if I can, let's take this loose. I'm going to take, let me zoom out a little bit here. Let me take this loose, loosen the 2 set screws, and this just comes out of here. It's a nice fit in there, okay? And there's a flat on one side, so this is self-aligning basically. Not perfect, but it works pretty good. Basically, on my setup for this little hand shaper, this part, the large end is 5/8. I made it out of a piece of 3/4 inch rod. Then the stop, or this little flange here, is 3/4. Then I turn this end down to 3/8, so we go into a 1/2 inch bore. So that's that. And you know, here's the block. It's very simple, just a square block, and nothing fancy, believe me. And one interesting thing, I guess it adds a little bit rigidity, and I found this out from Stefan, but he used a 5-degree angle on the, so there's a 5-degree downward angle on this. So this hole is bored, the hole in here is bored at a 5-degree angle, okay? So actually I'm sure that adds more rigidity. One question I had, and I sort of figured it out, that you also got to drill and ream this hole for the tool bit at an angle also, to account for the angle that you put into the block. But actually all that was no problem, so pretty easy to set up and do. And then this, I didn't spend any time grinding the tool bit, believe me. I just, you know, quickly did it. So nothing fancy. It is a little fiddly, because this hole is only 3/16, and I tried to grind a 1/8 inch end on this on the end of it. So it is a little fiddly. There's just a set screw in the end here. That's a 1032 set screw. For this little shaper, for a bigger shaper, you'd need something bigger, larger. So anyway, that's basically what I've done. I'm happy with it. It seems to work nicely. So I can actually make an internal keyway, and that was what I had decided to do originally. But it's taken me some time to get to this point. So also I might add that on my last video, I just used a standard clapper box and put a tool bit in my standard tool holder to cut a piece of steel, cut a slot in a piece of steel. It wasn't working really well, and Walter made a comment on my YouTube video, and he said, originally I don't have the parts sitting right here, but originally I had a back washer, and then the tool holder laid against that, and he suggested that that might be causing some flex in my setup. So also I think he made a couple other comments too, so I may try that to see if that helps the situation. Somebody else made a comment that to use a little different setup, just put the tool directly in the clapper and not use the tool holder. So that actually might add some rigidity to it too. So I might fool around with that later on. But this setup works beautiful actually, and so this would work for cutting an internal or external slot. Either one, it's going to do the job. And it's quite easy to break down and put the block on and then return to the original setup. So I'm happy with it, and so hopefully you get something out of this video. And so I'll call off now and see if we can get this posted. Thanks for watching.